Indiana's win over Purdue. Assembly Hall was packed, crazy environment. Indiana played nearly a flawless first half in my eye, jumping out, scoring as much as they did. They got Zach Edey in foul trouble a little bit. You knew Purdue was going to make the run. They did so in the second half, but the Hoosiers survived, sustained it, and never really relinquished control of that game, even though it was dicey down the stretch. Trayce Jackson-Davis, dominant as he's been over the last month, but now everybody in the country got to see it on the biggest stage against the National Player of the Year frontrunner, Zach Edey himself. So for an overreaction standpoint to start the show, Indiana is a Final Four team this season, even without their point guard, Xavier Johnson, who's been out with an injury for the majority of the year. RC, how crazy is that overreaction?
I can't be prisoner of the moment. If you tell me Xavier Johnson's coming back, I can put some money on the table and bet with you on that. But if right now, I can't be prisoner of the moment and just say that they'll do it. I mean, great win at home in that environment. They played their ass off. I mean, and Purdue still came back and within one possession of tying that game up. So I don't want to overreact and say Final Four, but they're pretty good. They're damn good. Hood-Schifino has gotten so much better as a freshman. I mean, he's comfortable in late game moments now. I still would like to see this team in their full capacity. I think Xavier Johnson, what he brings on both ends of the floor, you add him to that group, then I wouldn't make an argument about seeing him in Houston. But without him, I see. I'm not ready to say Indiana's going to go to the Final Four yet.
Who's your daddy, right, Rob?
Who's your daddy, RC? Look, you might not want to be a prisoner of the moment, but you will never go viral on TikTok if you don't.
Like you.
If you leave yourself as not being a prisoner of the moment. I will go ahead and be a prisoner of the moment.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to say that I do think that Indiana has a ceiling of getting to a Final Four. A lot of that has to do with the fact that this year is going to be wide open. There's just the parity between like the top 5 and like 30 to 35 is just too great. I think it's going to be an insane year. I think you could say like anybody in the top 25 can get to a Final Four and not have it be that crazy of a statement. But the biggest reason I think so is, one, I do believe that Xavier Johnson is going to be back. I think that he is trending in that direction. I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. If he comes back and you're telling me that you have Trayce Jackson-Davis at the 5 playing the way that he's playing, I'm not saying that he should be the National Player of the Year, but he is playing at a National Player of the Year level. Yeah. You give me Jalen Hood-Schifino playing the way that he's playing, can play on the ball, can play off the ball. You give me Xavier Johnson playing the way that he was playing at the end of last year, can play on the ball, off the ball. 2 big guards. You got shooters around him, Tamar Bates, Miller Kopp. You got Race Thompson, who has proven himself to be a good role player. You got guys that kind of understand their jobs. Malik Reneau was still out there. We haven't really talked about him at all. That is a team that I think is going to be very dangerous. And it's not just because they have the weapons offensively and a guy that's playing at a Player of the Year level, but they're guarding now. They're playing defense now. They're getting stops now. And I know that in the second half, Purdue kind of warmed down a little bit, right? Well, you know what happens when you go up against a team that's number 1 in KenPom in offensive efficiency, that has the single most dominant player, as you put it, Greg, the single most dominant college basketball big man that we have ever seen. They're going to be able to get some points. Indiana held off a run from the best team in the country, and they won a game that they should have won, that they needed to win. I'm buying them. I think that they have a very, very high ceiling. And in a year like this, where literally anything can happen in the tournament, and I won't be surprised, I'm in. Let's see it. Let's make it happen. Who's your daddy, baby? Who's your daddy?
Listen, next block later in the show, we are going to break down our title contender tiers. And I think Rob's point that this is a wide open year, anyone could really get to a Final Four this year, may come back up in that conversation as well. But Rob, I want to push back on one thing you said. You said that Trayce is playing at a National Player of the Year level. Is he actually? Because Zach Edey had 33 points and 18 rebounds in this game. He missed 4 shots in 19 attempts. Like, look, he was better than Trayce.
Stopping Shaq Edey this year. All right.
Whoa.
I get it. No one's stopping him this year.
There was someone on the field at 68 that was saying, "Oh, that was you." I didn't know it was you. I wasn't sure who it was.
Yeah,
I didn't remember.
Oh, it was me. It was me.
Okay.
It was me. I went out on a limb, and then that limb broke, and I fell, and it hurt, and I came back down to earth. But in a normal season, if you look at what Trayce Jackson-Davis has done over the last month, like he'd be in the mix.
He would.
Who knows?
He's in the mix. It's just he's so dominant. No. I'm only saying in the mix of you got to put guys in it, right? You got to put it like this. It's really at this point. with that performance, you want to say how great, Trace Jackson Davis was, and then Ziti dominates it like that. But if you take, let's remove Zach Edey from it, then you would have to put him in the mix. I think you put him in anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I'll give you that. We
got a Monstar. Okay, Zach Edey is a Monstar. He is Shaq Edey. He's got this thing locked up. In a normal year, when there are everyone that's playing is from planet Earth,
I'm with you.
Yes, Trace Jackson Davis might have a chance.
I just want to be clear, it's not a normal year. Like we can talk like flip it to college football. Like he might get an invite to New York. Maybe he's a Heisman candidate. Like he's not Zach Edey. He's not going to approach that level, even in the loss.